Thank you, Alon, for that nice introduction and for the great work that you're doing to advance progressive issues in our country. I'm delighted to be here with all of you as we close the 7th annual Netroots Nations Conference here in Providence, a city that I've had the privilege of serving as mayor for 8 years, and I'm honored to now represent in Congress. I hope you've all enjoyed our great city and state and all that they have to offer. It's been an amazing few days, and we've been thrilled to host progressive leaders from across the country discussing some of the most pressing issues facing us, from foreign policy to our tax code to gun safety and more. Thank you for the important work that you're doing. Our progressive community depends on your activism, your grassroots organizing, and an unintimidated, unrelenting advocacy for the issues we care most about. Throughout our history, change hasn't been easy and isn't going to be easy now. In fact, it's really difficult sometimes to see the path forward given the obstructionism that has taken control of government like never before. Our democracy is on life support. For too many, it seems as if our system of government just serves the special interests of big oil, big corporations, the politically connected, and the wealthiest Americans. And yes, the narrow self-interest of elected officials who seem more concerned with staying in power and scoring political points than actually getting anything done for the American people. Public distrust of government is at a record high, and this kind of pervasive cynicism is toxic for our democracy. Times are tough, and too many of our citizens believe that our government has totally lost sight of what's really happening in their lives. There's a palpable sense that those in Washington either don't get it, don't care, or are completely incapable of making a meaningful difference in the lives of people who continue to really struggle in this difficult economy. And so we need to dramatically and immediately reform how we conduct our elections and repair this very broken system. Can anyone here suggest with a straight face that this system is working for anyone but the powerful and well-connected? Cities and towns and communities across this state and our country are coping with double-digit unemployment, crumbling infrastructure, serious educational inequality. And what's Congress doing? Trying to defund Planned Parenthood, protect subsidies for big oil, undermine the EPA, play games with student loan interest rates, and pass a budget that ends Medicare as we know it. Is it any wonder that people are absolutely fed up? Progress on these issues and the issues that we care most about and that we know are central to providing all Americans with a legitimate shot at the American dream has been hijacked by a radical Tea Party-backed Republican majority. And it's being allowed to happen for two reasons: the corrupting influence of money in our politics and the cynicism that has developed from a complete loss of confidence in government's ability to solve problems and to act for the public good. First, the money. Specifically, the outsized sway of large, powerful corporations and special interests that seek to influence our elections and drown out the voice and will of the people. It's not news to anyone in this room that the United States Supreme Court ruling in Citizens United provided corporate money an unprecedented new role in federal campaigns, and that special interest money is now threatening the very principles on which our government was founded. The Citizens United decision rolled back years of campaign finance reform by allowing large corporations like Wall Street banks, big oil companies, and other special interests to contribute unlimited amounts of money to influence our elections and to keep the identity of those giving this money a secret. It's a recipe for democratic disaster. As dissenting Justice Stevens noted, these special interest corporate entities, quote, have perpetual life, the ability to amass large sums of money, no ability to vote, no morality, no purpose outside of profit-making, and no loyalty, end quote. Corporate spending on politics is not a blind, unbending devotion to an ideology. It's a business transaction designed to increase profits, plain and simple. And so it's easy to understand why a guy living in Woonsocket, a northern Rhode Island city that, like so many cities throughout the United States, saw its once thriving manufacturing economy disappear overseas, has little faith that Washington is going to get anything done for him. It makes sense that he seriously doubts that anyone in Congress even cares about what's happening in his life. Why should he think otherwise? And I know many of you bring enormous passion, a lot of energy to our progressive agenda. I hope that it will be enough to counterbalance the previously unimaginable resources that will be unleashed as a result of Citizens United. But let's face it, millions and even billions of special interest corporate dollars can buy a lot of television and can dominate the national conversation. It's already helping to set the agenda in Washington, and it's feeding into a sense that our government isn't working on behalf of the American people. If we're really serious about implementing change, about protecting and cultivating a strong middle class, about a government that works for all the people, we have to act forcefully to stop the corrupting influence of special interests and corporate money on our political system. First, we need to shine a light on the problem. The Disclose Act, which I co-sponsored in the House, would require full and immediate disclosure of all sources of election spending. Second, if the Supreme Court fails to acknowledge that corporations are just that, corporations, not people entitled to unregulated free speech, Congress should immediately take up a constitutional amendment to reverse the Citizens United decision. Corporations are not people. People are people. Third, we need to pass the Fair Elections Now Act, supported by good government groups like Common Cause, Public Citizen, and other reform groups, to reduce the ability of corporations to unfairly influence campaigns and our system of government. We need to make sure that the most powerful voice in Washington belongs not to big corporations, but to the American people. Finally, we need to take proactive steps now to help restore the American people's faith in government and to show them we get it. So many people have concluded that their elected officials in Washington are more concerned about the next election and rewarding their wealthy donors than restoring the well-being and prosperity of American families. We need to change this immediately. Our government cannot survive for a long period of time without the faith and confidence of the American people. We need to act quickly to jolt life back into the heart of American democracy. We can do it by reducing the influence of money in our political system and by making it clear that public service is done for the greater good, not for the individual benefit of members of Congress. So today, I'm asking you to join me in rallying support for two bold proposals to end business as usual in Washington. Let's put a lifetime ban on members of Congress ever becoming a lobbyist. No one should run for office in order to get rich, and elected officials should not be allowed to profit from influence peddling when they leave office. Second, let's finally put an end to congressional pensions. As so many Americans struggle to make ends meet and too many seniors worry about being able to afford their basic needs being met, former members of Congress should not continue enjoying generous taxpayer-funded pensions. Serving as an elected official should be a privilege, not a financial opportunity. A lifetime ban on lobbying and an end to congressional pensions aren't the entire solution, but they would go a long way to restoring people's faith that we serve their interests, not our own. Our system of government depends on our citizens believing that government is on their side and has their interests at heart. We're rapidly losing that in this country, and frankly, for good reason. So we need to rally and say enough. And if we can do these things and break the connections between money and politics and restore confidence in government, I have no doubt that we will successfully reignite the American dream, create ladders of opportunity, and remove obstacles to success for all Americans. Let's have the courage to get this done now. Thank you.
Go, Richard.